Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Chapter 48. As evening fell, the feds arrived. Cole was more than happy to hand the operation over to them. It gave him a moment to collect his thoughts, check his gear, and clean his rifle. The battle in Oregon had left it soiled, and he wanted to check the trigger assembly. Disassembling the weapon, he rubbed the metal clean with solvent and carefully oiled all the parts. Satisfied with the condition of the gun, he began reassembling it. Noticing a shadow approaching the tent, he looked up. "Good evening, Major," Johnny greeted him. "Private McClintock, you have the night off. What brings you by?" Cole wondered what was on the young man's mind. "I wanted to see if you wanted to get some food and catch up. I acted like an ass when I first got to Reno, and I'm sorry." "That's big of you to say, Johnny. Let's go grab some chow," Cole agreed, as he finished reassembling his weapon. Leaving with Johnny, they went towards the large chow tent the feds had set up. "Just have a seat anywhere, fellas," a woman greeted them as they entered. "Thank you, ma'am," Cole told her. He scanned the interior. "There's a table towards the back where you can watch the door," Johnny commented. Cole smirked a little, looking at Johnny curiously. "You remember?" "Yeah, I do. Always sit in the back so you can see the door and the whole room," he recited to Cole as they went to the table. As Cole sat down, Johnny stood for a moment, declaring, "I love you, Virgis. It broke my heart when you left." He sat down. Surprised he had made such an impact on the young man, Cole stammered for a minute. "I'm sorry, Johnny. I had my reasons." The woman from the door approached, asking, "Would you like a beer, Major?" "Yes, for the private as well," Cole told her. "Coming up," she said, leaving to get the drinks. What reasons, Johnny wondered. Cole sighed deeply, explaining, "When I was fighting overseas, I was helping others survive tyrannical dictators. I had to turn against my fellow countrymen when all this went down. My government started to become that authoritarian dictatorship. I was confused. I had to leave." "But you came back?" "I did," Cole answered simply. "Why?" Johnny prodded. "In my town, disaster after disaster kept happening. Then a group of refugees came. We helped them, but they still stole from us. The town was left without resources. Everyone became refugees and were put in the camp in Virgis. The state should have been resupplied, but the feds deemed the area west of the Rockies useless. They cut the resources. My dad was pissed." "You sound like someone else I know," Cole said dreamily. "That woman? Cassidy?" Johnny wondered. Cole looked offended. "What do you know about it?" "Chappie told me she comes to Dolores's. She looked important to those militiamen," Johnny commented. Quietly, Cole replied, "Her father leads them." "How do you know that?" "Because I do," Cole told him, scanning the room. They had come late in the night, and the emptiness of the place was comforting. "Because you're working with them?" Johnny asked quietly. "Private Jessup told me about the fighters that should have gone to Virgis." "What did he say?" "He said you're an excellent leader, and he would trust you with his life." "He didn't tell anyone else, did he?" Cole remembered Jessup asking questions about some of their activities. "No, he doesn't like doing collections either. His family is in the Minneapolis camp," Johnny explained. "Service for freedom," Cole suggested as the waitress approached. "Sorry about the wait, sir. Here are your beers. Do you want chicken or a burger?" "Burger," Cole replied. "Sounds good to me," Johnny agreed. "I'll go grab them, sir," the woman assured them before she left. "How do they get beef out here?" Johnny wondered. "It's more like mystery meat, but it's usually good," Cole told him. "Oh." He paused for a moment. Cole waited patiently for the young man to sort out his thoughts. "So," he began clumsily, "Cassidy is pretty hot." "She is, but she's wild," Cole warned. Even better, Johnny commented dreamily. She's old enough to be your mom, Cole said, dismissing him. Experienced, he commented, rubbing his hands together. Still works for me. She's mine, Cole stated flatly. Johnny laughed at him, nodding his head. That's what I thought, Johnny admitted. Johnny, you can't tell this to anyone, Cole told him. Johnny's expression turned solemn. Virgis, my dad, well, it was rough after you left. He started questioning his motives as well. You know our relationship hasn't been the best since Mom died, and he wasn't there. Anyway, he's coordinating with the Southern militias. Cole leaned in closer to him, wondering quietly, how do you know? I heard him talking with a man. Dixon was his name. He agreed with you and said the Merc should be a check to the federal power, a voice for the people. Why didn't he tell me, Cole asked, shocked by the news. He knew you had to find your own path. He didn't want you putting your conscience on the line out of loyalty to him. The women approached with 2 plates of food. Here you go, fellas. 2 burgers with Jerusalem artichoke fries. Johnny looked at her curiously. Are they good? They're unique. Let me know if you need anything, sir, she said before leaving them. What does that mean, Johnny asked. Try them and find out, Cole declared, picking up one of the fries and dipping it in ketchup. Johnny did the same. Chewing the fry around in his mouth, he commented, Not bad, but not great either. Unique. Yup, Cole replied, taking a bite from his burger. Anyway, that's why Pops is spending so much time in the Capitol. He's keeping his eyes on the federal operation, Johnny told him. Swallowing the bite, Cole put his burger down and looked at Johnny sternly. Johnny, do me a favor. What's that? Johnny wondered. Don't call him Pops, Cole commented. Chuckling at Cole, Johnny assured him. I'm just kidding around, Virgis. From now on, I won't call him Pops. He paused, eating some of the food on his plate. A tiny bit of mayonnaise stuck to his face as he looked up and asked, What are we going to do? Cole threw a napkin at him, declaring, We are not going to do anything. You will follow my lead and keep your head down so I can bring you back to your father safely. What are you going to do? Johnny wondered. We need someone with a story that will captivate the people. We need them to see how far things have gone and why this needs to end. I think I may have found one. Time will tell. But until then, this stays between you and me. I understand, he agreed, shoving the rest of the burger into his mouth. Not bad. Hello and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is episode number 448, season 15, episode 48. Hey, Chim, what's up?
Hey, chin's up, y'all.
Yep, Chim came sliding in, road tripping.
Had my orange Dodge Charger going full tilt.
Yeah, hood sliding like Bo Duke. Little bit of news before we start it up. Second week of June, season 4 is beginning. So, woot! Head on over to YouTube, check out the new video. It's really cool. Meet TJ Swenson video. So, you know, I got to tell you, that video is much darker, right? Got like as many clicks in one night as I have on like one of Erica's videos. I was like, what? Come on, TJ. Yeah. Second week of June 9th. We're not going to have a show. We'll do a rerun show or something like that, but we'll not have a live show that night. I'm going to be getting in from doing some little fishing vacay. And
so Sarah's actually going on a boat.
I'm going on a boat in the ocean. Well, in the Gulf, but it's salt water, which is, and I'm staying on an island. So, yeah, I'm stepping outside of my comfort zone.
Good for you.
Yeah, I just know that's when like the pole shift's going to happen, and I'll just be like, woo, riding the wave, baby. Yeah.
So Is it a 3-hour tour?
It's 3 hours out to go fishing for 5 hours, to come back for 3 hours. So it kind of is a 3-hour tour. Like, yeah.
Well, Gilligan, I said hi.
And then we got prep camp coming up in September. It's kind of the halfway mark. So, right? No, we're past the halfway mark. So if you guys don't have your tickets yet, get them. Get them. We'd like to see you there. It's always a good time. It never disappoints.
Never.
I mean, you're there, I'm there. What could go wrong? Nothing.
Come heck or high water.
That's right. That's right. So, yep, prepper camp. So, second week of June, we got season 4 beginning. Special treat for my members who are subscribers. You guys will get to have the first episode of season 4 before I leave on vacation. So that's going to happen next week or this coming week. I'll have that up for you guys. So you get the special 2-week sneak peek on the first episode of season 4. Then, like I said, June 9th, no live show. And then we got prepper camp coming up. All right. So in Virgis, this is classic. This is classic situational awareness week. They walk into the restaurant. What does Johnny say? There's a table in the back, Virgis.
Table for 2.
You remember? Oh, yeah. You like to sit in the back so you can watch the whole restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not in the habit of doing that by this point, get in the habit of doing that. Once you are in the habit of really being aware of what's going on around you, you will not want to sit anywhere else, and it'll drive you absolutely bonkers when you have to.
I know. You ever run, like you have a bunch of people and they all want that one seat with their back against the wall looking out?
Yes. Yeah.
You ever been in that group? Oh, man.
Yeah, because I've taught my boys now, right? So, yeah, Fletcher always wants to sit the same way. And
there's a couple there, and they get there first, and I'm like, damn, they've got that seat.
Yeah, I had that happen with like a work party, and everybody was there before me. I had to sit with my back to like an aisle of like people walking up and down this like row in between the tables, like right behind. I was just, my boss was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, not really, actually, at this moment. I cannot see. I know there's a ton of activity going on behind me, and I do not like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, other big happenings that happen, this is basically when Johnny has, the heart-to-heart with Virgis, and Virgis tells him about Cassidy. Johnny tells him about that his dad's hooked up with the militias. So, interesting stuff in this conversation. A really big turning point for these two when they kind of, solidify that they're back together. The crew. So we have done a ton of episodes on situational awareness, and you're going to be like, Sarah, what more can we say? You can really never say enough, because situational awareness is the most important part of survival. It is the most important part. It is the most important part of surviving any self-defense situation. If you were just so focused on that one person that walked up to you that you never saw that there was 5 more coming around you, you're in big trouble. Mm-hmm. So you can't say enough. You can't sharpen your skills enough. We're all in those moments when we get in like our own head and we're like, whoa, how did I ever drive this far? Or, how did all of these people come around me and I didn't realize what was going on? It's one of the most important things, and it's just something that can slip in everybody just when you get in your own head with your own thoughts or anything like that. So you really can't say enough about it. I found a killer article. I'm going to throw it up in the chat for everybody who's following along in the chat. I would highly suggest going and reading that article. We're going to go over it a little bit today, but because they have some great exercises that I had never seen before for sharpening those situational awareness skills. So that's what we're going to focus on, really. If you're in a typical self-defense situation, it's going to really take you like 2 to 5 seconds to realize, like, oh my goodness, I'm in danger. And your perpetrator is absolutely relying on that factor, that it takes you that time to realize it, because in that time, that's when they gain the upper hand over you. So we don't want to have that happen. That would be
that guy's scary.
right. OODA loop is always important. We got to remember OODA loop always. So OODA loop is observe, orient, decide, act. Observe, orient, decide, act.
OODA. While we're speaking of OODA, remember, James has his ebook on sale this weekend.
I got the paperback. I mean, the paperback's like $11.
I know.
It's
well,
beautiful.
you should have both. And then you go on and give him a good review.
Yeah, that's true.
OODA is the main character.
Yep, OODA. I know.
Anyway.
My kids were like, wow. A little
Now
creepy.
back to our...
But they liked it. Overall, they really liked it. So, yeah, it's a good book. So go check that out. I can't remember the exact name of it. I'm so bad. Is Intrepid
The World of
Ready. Yep. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. I just remember OODA.
OODA. I know. When you said it, now all I think about is this little character.
Right? Yeah. Observe, orient, decide, act. Observe, orient, decide, act. So that's pretty
Keeps you
self.
from paralysis, right?
Yes, exactly. Because you're constantly going back through that cycle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And observing and orienting are really important pieces of that. Like, don't just focus on the decide, act part. Because any
like
battle...
you were saying,
go
you might see just one person, and there could be 3 or 4.
Right.
Or a crowd. Bad guys.
Exactly.
Bad people. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're just focused in, I mean, it doesn't. Or like
Could
somebody's
be,
approaching your car. Maybe there's somebody else too.
Yep.
Yeah. So observing and orientating is the best idea, because you need to get yourself in a position where you are at the back of that restaurant. You can see everything that's going on around you, especially in a self-defense situation. It's one of the reasons why I'm not like overly as crazy about just training jiu-jitsu, because you go to the ground with somebody, there could be 3 other people standing above you, and you're done. Okay, so one of the other things that I picked out of this article that I really liked was developing that baseline. It seems really basic that you need to develop a baseline, but I've never just really thought about it, right? Like, what is normal here?
Right, yeah.
Right? It's just kind of assumed. But I've never really focused on the details of what's normal, like noise level, smells, lighting, those kinds of things. What's the
I saw that list.
Right? Yeah, I really liked that as well.
How people are moving and how they're acting.
Just the overall energy of the place. Like, did that energy just change? There could be a problem. Also, what warrants a second look. So uncomfortable behavior was number 1. If somebody's acting uncomfortable, they are uncomfortable about something. There's some reason why, because that's not our natural state to be in. Well, for most people. Some people, but most people, you're not being uncomfortable is not your natural state. So if that's happening, that warrants a second look. Unusual action, observing their hands, right? Any kind of nefarious activity, or if they have a weapon or something like that, they're going to be reaching to guard over that object, pretty constantly. I wear my knife at my side and I play with it a lot, right?
Good.
I know. Yeah, because it click in and out of it's like a pen, right? Clicky, 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 clicky.
Yeah. It's got a hard...
Yeah, the hard
Is
case.
it folding? It's a hard...
Yeah.
Fixed blade with a hard sheath.
Right. Yeah, fixed blade with the hard sheath.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking through prepper camp one time.
Keep popping it open and close.
Yeah, exactly. Click, 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 click.
Yeah.
So I'm walking through prepper camp, and natives hand off the weapon, ma'am. I'm like, no.
You have a tell.
I know. He was looking, right? He knew exactly right where my hands were. And so I tend to do that as well because when I'm wearing my knife in a crowd, I don't want somebody to be able to just walk up and take it from me.
I know, but that's like another thing with like concealed a firearm. You're especially a new carrier is always like adjusting, right?
Oh, huh.
And you're away. Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, I've got something. Yeah. Aggressive, erratic behavior, of course, but then, like you said, bulges in the clothing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So out here in Texas, like I seen a dude riding on a motorcycle and his shirt was blowing and his pistol's just like right there tucked in the back of his pants.
Yep.
I'm like, amen. God bless Texas. So how do we improve? Like, I'm always looking for ways to improve situational awareness. I snuck up on Brock the other day. I was like standing behind him for like 3 minutes before I scared the crud out of him. And he's like, dude, I'm slacking. I'm like, yeah, you are. You know, just because you're in your own house doesn't mean you should be comfortable. Gosh, silly guy. So, lots of things like when we're driving around, we tend to like pick a color car. Then we're always looking for those cars. That will definitely stop you from ever getting someplace and going, how did I get here? Right?
Right.
That's the worst. I'm so mad at myself whenever that happens. So have you ever played the game? They call it Kim's game. Kim's exercise or something like that in the military. And it's where you have like 10 to 15 items that you look at it for a minute and then they take it away or cover it up. And then you have to remember what was there.
It's like there's that card game like that too.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I played a ton of memory when I was a kid. I love that.
Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Garden Girl just was chatting up on the chat that the tornado touchdown just a few miles from the in-laws, Texas, got destroyed. It got really hit last night. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, wow. So anyway, this is an easy one. 10 to 15 items. Play with the kids. The kids love these kind of games. Like memory. Right? Yeah. And then, you know, you and your spouse can practice these things. Make sure it's random items. You have to do random items. I like this one too. Eyewitness description. So this could be fun at like a party type scenario, or even at prepper camp. You know, we could take up around a picture of like a random person and just show it to everybody. And like, this is the subject. And then like come back later and be like, write down what that person looked like. And
let them look at it for a fixed amount of time.
Yeah.
Get 15 seconds or 30 seconds and then.
Right. But then they can't write it down till later. See, I'd be like cheating. I'd be like, as soon as you walk away, I'd start writing it down, you know. But no, you got to wait till later.
If you have a pad and a writing utensil with you.
I typically do. You know.
Writer, you write.
I'm a writer. I write. I have lots of pens.
Not everybody does, though. It's amazing how many people don't have a writing implement.
Oh, but everybody's got their cell phone and they have the notepad in there.
I know, but that's not the same.
No, it's not. Nobody uses it either. Like, it's cumbersome. So, on the stylus, I don't know. They didn't really take off very well.
I actually like style. Like, I bought a tablet that has a stylus because I just like writing instead of. I like using my thumb and my first finger is thumbs. Yeah. I've been doing so much audio building. I have like a twitch in my arm right now. I was like doing my mouse work the other night from all the fine stuff that I do, right? It's like twitch. I'm like, no, I don't want it over there. So is that what you did down at the dojo? We did my mouse work. Yeah. That definitely happens at the gym. No, but I have gotten my butt back into class, so I am training with all them 20-year-olds again. Feeling pretty good. Expand your peripheral vision. This is great. Eye exercises are always awesome. Literally, you can like do eye exercises for your eyes like they're in a little gym, and it helps you keep your vision better, longer, keeps your eyes stronger. Glasses are great. I wear them every day, but they also help weaken your eyes more. So anything you can do to help strengthen your eye muscles is really good. And if it can be part of situational awareness, boom. So what he was saying to do is, develop a habit of scanning everything. I mean, whenever we're outside of a vehicle, first thing I'm going to tell my kids is head on a swivel.
Yep.
Put your head on a swivel. Put your head on a swivel. So this is actually scanning your environment without moving your head. And you do the area directly in front of you first, and then you keep going, looking further and further and further out. And so once you get good at it, then you try to describe things that are in your peripheral vision without turning your head to look at them. Are you doing it right now? You're doing it right now, aren't you?
No, I'm swiveling. I got aviator glasses on.
Oh, you're looking cool. You're Maverick up in there. Like, yeah, what's up? So that's a good one. And it's good for your eyes, and it's good for your situational awareness. So that's something I'll definitely do. When you see me looking all bug-eyed and weird, you'll know why. The observation scavenger hunt. So this was kind of cool. Jordan the other day was talking on our host group. I got my kids coming out for a trip. What's like a cheap way to have fun, right? Mm-hmm. And I used to always take my kids to the museums and like the little local zoo that's cheaper and stuff like that. Just take them to the nature preserve and things like that, just because it's a inexpensive way to have fun and enjoy each other's company. So what you can do is, if you've been there, especially, you can come up with a list of items. And so when they come in, you can have them, look at the list, find the items. And then when you're all done, they have to go and write out as many of the items as they can remember from the list. So again, it's like a memory exercise, but I thought it would be fun. Like, that'd be cool to do with the kids in a museum. Same thing with the exit interview. So if you leave someplace, you can do this with your spouse, your kids, or whatever. Quiz each other. How many employees did you see? My characters actually do this a lot in the books. How many guards do you see? Erica's doing it with the kids all the time. Go figure, right? So how many employees did you see? What did the people at the table next to you eat? Like, typically, I can't answer that question. So I had to ding myself on that one. Oh, did I lose you, Chin?
Did not.
Oh, okay.
Just making me hungry talking about watching people eat.
Oh, yeah, it's dinner time. You haven't even got your dinner yet. How many exits? That should be something that's not just part of the game. You should be doing that all the time.
Yep.
Yeah. Where are the exits?
Yep.
That's got to be second nature for you. What kind of decorations were there? How many tables were there? So those.
Did you see that video I sent you? It was
yeah, I did watch that.
Talking about what this one guy did with his kids. Yeah. What direction to go when you get out of the emergency exit to get back to your car? That's a good one for the kids to see if they're paying attention to, like, when they get turned around in a building.
The orientation.
If they actually,
of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought that was a good question.
Yeah, if we go out this way, where's our car?
Right.
That is a good idea. That guy was cool, too. I liked him. I was like, I do that same thing.
Yeah.
I do that same thing. Like, hey, that's cool. That's new. Yeah. Yep. Hat on a swivel. I'm like, oh. I don't even know where I got that from. Yeah. Well, I've been saying it to the kids forever because, like, when they're literal running through a parking lot or whatever, it's like, dude, you got to look. Find the difference exercises. This is literally like when we were younger and they had those highlight magazines. Do you remember those? They had like find the hidden things or find the differences between the two pictures.
I like those puzzles.
Me too.
Yeah.
There's some cool like game apps that still do it, so you can definitely do brain training this way. And then how many can you find? So this is again, how many blue cars? How many beetles? How many stop signs did we pass? How many people were wearing this color? How many people were wearing that color, right? So you just got to pick one objective when you walk out the door, and then you start counting those items. And you'll be so surprised at what you just start noticing because you're looking for one thing. Whereas before, it would probably be all just a blur. Like, oh, there were some people there, you know. I noticed a bit, like I say, because it was really ticking me off when I just space out when I'm driving, because I know that's not good.
Right.
And so I count blue cars typically.
It's like you got into, it's like, oh, what I got to do when I get home? Or, oh, that was a good song, right? And then all of a sudden you're like,
or I'm
driving,
just singing along. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I got home and I don't even remember driving through this part and that part and this part. But when I'm counting blue cars, I always remember. Like, oh yeah, I saw a blue car there. So really good stuff for situational awareness. And taking it down to people then. Once you get out of the car, oh, he's wearing blue, they're wearing blue. And you know what else is not happening? You're not looking at your cell phone. That's the worst.
Yep.
That, like, anybody in the audience who's looking at your cell phone in a parking lot, shame on you. Stop it, please, for your own sake. And then teach your kids not to do that to you. Like, we used to have answering machines. So even if it rings, guess what? They can leave a message. You can call back. Mm-hmm. But you're going to be safe. Not a prey. They don't want you to look them in the eyes. They don't want you to know who they are. They don't want you to be able to do a description of who they were after the fact. So if you're heads up and doing that, now you're no longer the prey. This one was weird. I don't really go to the mall or like, I don't know. If I'm in a store, I'm usually like after certain things. It's like people in those stores are usually after. But the who's really shopping game at the mall to like.
Who's really shopping?
Yeah. Who's really shopping? Like who's actually there buying stuff or are they just walking around? But I did like the one before that. Like if you're at a park. You have 1 minute to try and what are they doing? You have 1 minute to get your best guess of what this person is doing at the park, right? So, like, obviously it's obvious if they're playing football or something like that. But if they're just standing by the post, then that's a little bit different. Like, what are they doing? So, basic people watching.
When it with a fiction author, though, you would make up anything.
Oh,
you'd be
man.
like, this grand story going on, and I'm like, the guy's just leaning against a light post.
They're the next savior of the universe. He is working on mentally developing his super mutant powers. Yep. He knows the secret code to the safe that is located underneath the pole that he's leaning against. No, you're right. But come on, you gotta be practical too. And even if you are making up a story, you're there and noticing the people and what they're doing.
Right.
So
it'd be a game to play with the kids. See how many items they can pick out of the scene to make a story.
Oh yeah.
So like. The lady has an umbrella. The guy has whatever. Is wearing sneakers and short. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Now she's turned into Mary Poppins, and he's actually the chimney guy, right?
List 20 items or 10 items, and then make a story out of it.
That'd be like a fun summer thing to keep the kids busy during the summer.
Yep.
Garden Girl's probably over there taking notes. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Them little whippersnappers be situationally aware. This goes right along those lines. Describe the area you've just been through. So it's got to be unexpected and random because you can't just let them like start memorizing as they go in. But I mean, with little kids, cool. With adults, though, like spring it at them and just be like, hey, we just walked through there. Well, what's like 4 things you noticed in there, right?
Yep.
With kids, you can prime them. They can, and then just pick out a few things that you'd expect them to see. Or you can have them describe like one thing that was in there in detail. And that way people start paying attention to, when I'm coming through this area, I need to pay attention to, what everything was. I don't do public commuting. I don't do commuting at all, actually, right now. So,
like public transportation?
Yeah, public transportation. Or even when you're driving like the same route every day, you start to notice certain cars that are always like on the road with you. I used to notice that when I was leaving Cool, headed for Auburn. There's certain cars that are leaving at the same time as you. And so, like, pay attention to who those people are. When do they join you? When do they leave? This is just to keep your brain sharp. It's not that you're, like, monitoring them. But then you can really start to see, like, oh, wow, there's a heavy traffic today of, like, different drivers that aren't usually here. Or different passengers that aren't usually here. What's the difference today, So that's kind of cool if you're in a, like, more of an urban area. Or you're commuting or whatever. Where can the gunmen hide? I love this one. I do it all the time. When I'm out walking or whatever, I'm like, sniper point. Oh, hidden in the third layer. You can be. Third layer has to do with like camouflage when you're in the woods. There's the first layer, the second layer, third layer. It's really difficult to see people in the third layer. So this is always a fun exercise. I'm always thinking of like where people could jump out to like ambush you and stuff like that. Probably that's that fictional writer thing going on. But good practice for everyone. And then you can add different limitations like where could you hide to get cover and not just concealment. Get them started thinking about that. And then the last one was kind of creepy. What's different on your street? Take pictures of your neighborhood and store them. I'm thinking it would be a little creepy just walking down the street like I'm taking my normal walk and I'm just taking pictures of all my neighbors' houses. I'm sure easily enough done.
Well, yeah.
But kind of creeper.
Talk on the phone or something. If
right?
you have Yeah.
That's true. I could just like be talking on the phone and like video it all the way down. But anyway, so he's like, take pictures in the neighborhood and then study the neighborhood carefully. Put the pictures away, store them away, and then study the neighborhood carefully. I do this, especially because I love to garden. And when we moved to Texas, we're in a different zone, right?
Right.
So in order for me to know how to garden down here, my biggest learning tool was watching the people who garden down here, right? When are they tilling their soil? When are they planting? And that's what really got me on track for my garden. And so I really did study them carefully. And I was looking at, oh my gosh, that dirt's been disrupted. I know they've planted, so I've got to get mine planted, right? Mm-hmm. This year I was actually early, and it's the best yet. So I was in earlier than the one local that I look at. One of the locals was already in, one wasn't, so I decided it was a good time.
Split the difference.
Yeah. So then, once you have the pictures and you've been watching your neighborhood and stuff like that, try to list out the things that you think are different than before. Like my neighbor had some roof damage. That was a change that I noticed. One of my neighbors, like their lawnmower wasn't working. So now their grass is super long, right? And so I've been noticing just changes like that. But then you can take out the pictures and compare it to your list and see like what differences are actually there. So cool exercise, but I was like, God, that's kind of creeper to just like.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
Right? I don't want my neighbors to think I'm like a wackadoodle because I'm taking pictures of their house. So, but I got pretty nice neighbors. We want to keep it that way.
Yep.
One nice thing about Texas. But practicing situational awareness, guys, I can't overemphasize the importance of, doing this daily whenever you're out in someplace public, whenever somebody pulls up at your house, if you have a dog and it's barking, like, you can't just ignore the dog. You have to actually go look at, like, oh, what's the dog barking at, If you got a little yapper that barks at everything, still, you've got to go look, because Miss Amber Pooh might have actually spotted something,
No, she really is a good alert dog.
Right? Yeah, I mean, usually the yappers, that's what they're best at, is really alerting you to what's going on. So, Shadow, my black lab, she'll just be like sleeping right through it. She wouldn't care. But, so yeah, every day situationally aware, it's going to be the best for you, because if you aren't aware that somebody just pulled up in your driveway, now they're at the door before you were aware of it. Now they're through the door before you were aware of it. And we all slack. We all get in our own brains. We all get complacent. And it's just something we have to stay vigilant on. So there you go, like a new list of some cool things to do. I'm going to do them as well. We'll have to do like a report back on how things went, because I needed some new exercises myself. I've been counting blue cars for a long time. You guys got anything like that you guys do to stay sharp in your travels? You're like, no.
No blue cars.
Head on a swivel.
Just all the cars that drive by.
Yeah. That's just the biggest thing. When we're out traveling, I've really got to watch the people, because it's just sketchy situations can happen a lot faster than you would imagine. And with Christian, still being little.
We both pay attention when we're out, like at malls and
yeah.
We've literally like walked out of a Walmart because we've heard an argument starting to bubble over.
Right.
Like, now we're out.
Yeah.
We can come back later.
Any fight you're not in is one you're going to survive.
It's the one you're going to win.
Yep, exactly. Because honestly, like, once a situation begins, it doesn't matter if you technically win or lose, you're still going to lose. There's still an element of you could be injured even though you won. So, all right. Hopefully that gave you guys some new tools. I wanted them, so I thought it'd be fun to share them tonight. All right, let's go ahead and get into some Changing Earth news. It's been wild on our planet, guys. Wild. So, woo, the insurance market's going to be so interesting. But here we go. Changing Earth news.
Dream. Survive. Thrive. This is Changing Earth news.
So I said that the insurance marketplace is going to be wild, because as a cog in that engine, I really have no idea how our insurance as we currently know it is going to survive.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of disasters that are just unfolding.
It just, a lot of the conversations around my extended family have been, our policy went up.
Yeah.
Yeah. The rates have gone. Have you, like, everybody's like, who are you with? What do you, trying to find a better rate?
Yeah. It's not going to happen. They're going to keep going up.
Yeah.
$2 billion worth of hail damage to Austin last year. I mean, there's all your auto. You know how many used car parking lots and everything were just splattered with hail? And then all of these storms that are coming through, all these tornadoes that are coming through. It is just, I don't know how it survives. You can't. If you look at the numbers, somebody's been paying like $1,500 a year for 30 years. It was like $45,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their house goes down and we're rebuilding at, $300,000 to $500,000 or upwards. Those numbers don't jive. Like, they just don't work for the companies to keep expending that premium over and over and over and over and over again. So, yeah, like I say, as somebody who's a cog in the engine, I don't know. It's going to be real interesting is all I could say. Okay, so Changing Earth news, May 26, 2024. The our sun is quiet for a moment. It's like the calm before the storm on the sun. The sunspot that gave us all the problems in the beginning of May is coming back around. And she's about to show her ugly little head again. And so it's been a little bit calmer right now. There's a lot of movement happening within the sunspot. And if it keeps that up, we're going to be looking at the same type of situation we were dealing with the beginning of May. So we have to keep our eyes on this because it could be a big problem really fast. And then other than that, there was some like big filaments on the south. An eruption would not be good for planet Earth if those went off. But all in all, a general quiet kind of going on, like I say, a calm before the storm. And hopefully it doesn't happen while I'm out on a boat in the ocean. Oh, I'm going to need prayers, guys. Lots of prayers. I know it should be like awesome, fun trip, but man, I know I'm growing more gray right now as I speak. Okay, May 20th, 369 earthquakes are 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.1 in Peru. There was a 4.1 in San Diego. There was actually tons and tons and tons of earthquakes over there. And like I said last week, sometimes good to see the little ones because that can be pressure release without a big one. So we just don't know. Historic flooding in Brazil continues. Areas have been just absolutely decimated. The water is now getting up so high that even like some of the high ground is becoming just you just can't be there anymore. So really crazy situation going on there. And they're definitely not going to get those fields planted in time for a harvest this year. A freak storm left Poland blanketed in hail. And boots on the ground. Yeah, I gotta say what was in our chat room here from our buddy over there in Portugal. Normally Portugal, 35 to 40 degrees Celsius, snowed again in 2 parts in the big mountains. So of course up in the mountains, but still, this time of year, crazy sauce. So the Sierra Nevadas haven't been doing anything. They're kind of, when we looked at it, I think it was like same longitudinal of over there. So, Arizona, Tonto National Forest, 5,000 acres burning. Kenya was bracing for more rain as Cyclone Ayala hit. Kansas, they had a huge dust storm. Just huge haboob. They're called haboobs. I know everybody who's immature like me. Yeah, in Kansas. In central Kansas. Can now laugh. But yeah, huge dust storm. Residents there saying they've never seen anything like it. Just went straight to black. Black skies. May 21st, 387 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.7 in Papua New Guinea. Oklahoma was hit by multiple tornadoes. Omaha, Nebraska was getting flooded. Eastern Colorado hit by golf ball size hail event. The Netherlands hit by extreme flooding event. Also other areas of Europe flooding. Also Russia, southern China, record rainfalls in a lot of those areas over there. So this is not just the United States going crazy. This is the whole world going crazy. Southern China is also experiencing record heat. So I feel them like that's what we've got going on in Texas right now. It's May, and it feels like it's dang near middle of August. It's just the worst because we just had so much rain. And the storms, when the hot runs into the cold, that's what's creating all this craziness. So Oklahoma was also hit by a dust storm. Oh, now I know I lost you.
No.
Okay. It did a beep, 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 beep. May 22nd, 348 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.6 in the Maluku Sea in Indonesia. Naples, Italy. So this is right near Camp Flaggry, the volcano there, the super volcano. They were literally evacuating on May 22nd. They had a 4.4, biggest earthquake in 40 years. The inmates of the nearby prison were being evacuated. So Camp Flaggry has not calmed down at all. It is still making a lot of noise. Iowa was hit by tornadoes, lots of tornadoes just ripping through the middle of our country. Arizona wildfires are up to 14,000 acres. Central Illinois, I-55 closed due to a dust storm. So we have these dust storms on top of the other storms. It's going to be like this, guys. It's just the atmosphere becoming supercharged, super highs, super lows. So that's why we're going to have just more insane weather. And that's why I'm worried about like how the insurance industry is going to actually handle all this. May 23rd, there was 363 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, the biggest of which was a 5.6 in the southwest Indian Ridge. Oklahoma was hit by a series of tornadoes. I've been lucky enough where we're at. They've skirted to the east or to the west and pretty much missed our area completely. So it's kind of crazy to wake up some mornings and find out that just down the road, somebody else got screwed over that night. May 24th, there was 377 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 5.4 in Peru. In New Jersey, there was another 2.9 earthquake. Parts of Iowa and Illinois destroyed by tornadoes that night, just relentless activity. Multiple people died in those events. And the wind turbines got destroyed. I bet you that also happened up where it was hitting in northern Texas, because I know that area is all wind turbines up in there as well. Prayers out to everybody that's been affected by these tornadoes. We are talking about a lot of devastation. And really, that's what the Changing Earth series is all about, is infrastructure being destroyed, but not so much like a mass casualty of people. And so how do you handle that when your infrastructure is being ripped out from underneath you, and you still have all these people that relied on that infrastructure? So that's what's going to give you more climate refugees and things like that. May 25th, there's 383 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, the biggest of which was a 6.3 in Vanuatu. Northern Texas, that was this morning or yesterday. 5 people died up there in the tornadoes that came through. I've heard 5 to 11. Many more people were injured. It really hit Collin, Denton, and Cook counties. So big disaster in those areas. Again, just if say your prayers for those people. If you weren't involved, thank the Lord first, and then pray for the people that were. In the Philippines, Moban Quezon was hit by typhoon. It's Aghon, Achnan, and caused a major flooding event over there. There was also a huge landslide that happened over there. So those people are definitely going to need our prayers. The island folks are just getting hit. Montana declared a disaster due to flooding. New Mexico wildfire they have started was up to 1,500 acres. That is the Blue 2 fire. And a lightning strike started a fire near the NASA Kennedy Space Center in Florida. So we had eyes on that one. May 26th, there was 394 earthquakes that were 2.0 or bigger, biggest of which was a 6.3 in Vanuatu, another one. So not the same one that hit the day before. And when energy comes in there, it kind of like, it's like the punch point for our planet, and that feeds out around the ring of fire. So we always have to keep our eye on that, because that could be bad things in the coming week for the ring of fire. Especially 2 of them back to back like that. Rogers, Arkansas was hit by a tornado. Ohio, when I was doing my research, they were on a tornado watch right now for a potential tornado outbreak with the storm that's moving through there right now. Cyclone Ramal is making landfall in Bangladesh right now today. That was live action. And then the extreme heat in Texas is the big story. A lot of people are still out of power in Houston. Now they're getting this extreme heat. So not a good situation there. As far as erupting volcanoes, we have 31 volcanoes erupting. That's the same as last week. We have 25 showing minor activity. That's up 2 from last week. And we have 26 showing unrest. That's down 2 from last week. So we have the same number of tornadoes or volcanoes. I've been talking too much about tornadoes today. Right. Same number of volcanoes on the list, but 2 more moved up into minor unrest as opposed to just being in the unrest category. For wildfires, we're at a preparedness level of 2, so everybody got to start perking up about those wildfire risks. There are 7 large active wildfires in the United States right now for a total of 32,671 acres on fire. 2 of those fires are contained. Arizona is number 1 on the list with 1 huge fire, 14,402 acres. No new fires. 2 of the other big ones are contained at this time. Oregon's number 2 on the list with 1 large active fire, 6,340 acres. That is not contained at this time. Colorado is number 3 on the list with 1 large active fire, 5,699 acres. That is not contained at this time. And Alaska is number 4 on the list, 1 large fire, 3,954 acres. And that one is also not contained. But a lot of Canada's burning up on that side, so I wasn't really surprised to see Alaska up on the list. So, yeah, I mean, I guess we need some... I was going to make like a Wizard of Oz joke, like, you know, with all the tornadoes going on, but I don't know if that's really appropriate today. It was a really rough night for a lot of people last night, so just send more prayers out to them. There's been like 15 to 20 tornadoes or something that's hit Pennsylvania this year. It's just whack, right? That doesn't... It's weird weather everywhere.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And with that big sunspot turning back around, I don't know. They were comparing numbers to like this last big CME that we had compared to like big ones we've had in the past and where the aurora traveled to as far as like way more intense flares than that one we had. And the aurora didn't go that far. So you know the Earth's shielding is not doing well, even though that's something that nobody in the mainstream media wants to talk about. And we just don't know what kind of effects that's going to have as this transition happens on our planet. I mean, we don't have records from 12,000 years ago besides what we can find in the dirt and the trees and whatnot. So,
yeah, they all want to use that tag word climate change, but they don't want to go too far beyond SUVs.
Right? Exactly. There's another like huge piece of ice breaking off of the ice sheet, and so of course they're going to blame that on climate change, but that's actually like Mother Nature's natural way of cooling the planet. So that happening would actually like trigger in the next ice age, because that would bring less salinity to the water, and it shuts down that the flow in the Arctic, the current, just like the movie Day After Tomorrow, literally, just like that movie. It was like a movie to...
That's the one where like, New York froze over?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, you know, we have mammoths that were froze while eating. I mean, that's a quick freeze. We've never really seen anything like that happen on our planet. So how does that happen, right?
It was like a big harvest, right?
A big harvest, right?
Freeze-dried machine.
Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, you can still eat it and everything. Uh-huh. Yeah, people do. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, guys. Well, until next time, stay safe. I hate to stay safe. I'd rather stay free.
Right.
But right now with the crazy weather, like make sure you got that situational awareness going in more ways than one. Those people that just got hit in Texas, one of the biggest things they were saying was we just never saw it coming. Like it happened that fast. There's a lot of times that I'm like, yeah, warning, whatever, you know. So just don't be that person. Alrighty, guys, check out the video over on YouTube. Give it a like. Give it a share. It is in a short. It is in a long video. Whichever way you prefer, go check that out. Subscribe to the channel. Always appreciate that. And until next time, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.
Thank you for joining Sarah and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Day After Disaster, Without Land, The Walls of Freedom, Battle for the South, Dark Days in Denver, and The Endless Night at www.authorSarahFHathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series and podcast, become a supporter while you're there.